So, welcome to today's stream. Hello, everyone. I'm Wendy. I'm here with Edmar and Maddie joining us on from paternity leave. So glad that we have him here. We also are joined by Eric and Charles. And we have Stephen, aka Funky Boy, and we're going to play Legos today. So this is going to be awesome. Really excited about it. Before I want to keep the intro short and sweet because we cut into our starting time a little bit there. So let's start off with some announcements. Edmar.
Yeah, the big one, as I just mentioned, so Isaac was going to be here today. They have some stuff they're doing to meet their demands for GTC, which is just around the corner. So we're going to talk to the Isaac team, and not only at GTC, you'll see them, but we're going to schedule a live stream with them shortly after GTC. For all you Isaac fans, we are paying attention to everybody's great comments and feedback in the forums on Isaac. So we're going to have a nice live stream so you can ask your Q&A live. But yeah, GTC sits around the corner, March 20th, 23rd. It is free to register. It's virtual, so it doesn't matter where you live, you can attend. Registration is super straightforward. Just go to nvidia.com/GTC. I know it's probably a little small on the screen, but I wanted to whip through a couple of different sessions. We're going to post these links in the chat, but just to give you an idea, we've got a lot of great pages set up so that you can kind of see based on the subject which sessions would be most interesting to you. Here's one that I'm involved with. Actually, I might be ducking out of this live stream a few minutes early because we're going to be recording a segment of this today. But how to start a business Omniverse. For all you great creators and developers out there who want to take Omniverse to the next level and use it to generate good income, we're going to have a great panel with some people who have done just that. That's just an example, but we also have our user group coming up on the 21st. During GTC, Wendy and I and team will be there. Maddie will probably be there. And of course, we're going to hear from Damien and from Frank on the roadmap and Rev and Richard. It's going to be a big party. So that's going to be great. We're going to show off some great creator and developer stuff there. For other topics, we have some pages that I'll paste in the chat in a second, but we have some great curated sessions suggested for people interested in Metaverse. We have stuff for creators. We got stuff, people who are working for companies and want to really take a dive into Omniverse Enterprise. We have sessions based on that. Of course, digital twins is going to be huge at GTC. So we're going to have a lot of nice sessions on digital twins. And actually, Leela is going to be there from the Isaac Sim team. And so Spencer, a lot of great names, Mike Geyer. And to help break it down a little bit further, we've got in our announcements on the forums, we have a great post from Amelia that kind of goes through some of this recommended sessions based from the pages I just showed you. So this is a kind of one page to see it all. Again, we'll post this link in a few seconds. Regarding artists who are interested in making money, we have a very special session that I'm going to be involved with a few other folks. We're going to kind of show people, 3D artists, how to build a side hustle. There's a big demand for sim-ready assets right now for people who are making digital twins and companies. So there's a great opportunity to make some good revenue from generating those type of assets. So we're going to show everybody from start to finish how you can do that. And then right before
Great
GTC,
side hustle for introverts. Just mentioning that.
It's going to be great. Paul Callender's been instrumental in getting that together. So thank you, Paul, and Bo, of course. But right before GTC, there's a GDC, which is the Game Developer Conference. NVIDIA will also be there and involved with several sessions. So if you go to the NVIDIA forums, we are also, you can come up with this post, but we're going to also make a new post just for the Omniverse area so you all see this. But we'll post these links in a few seconds. I want to give a quick shout out to a new user who just came across, Mr. GFX Unreal, who just posted a really cool walkthrough on how to get audio to face working with Omniverse. Brand new influencer kind of on our radar. Really cool to see this work, and we're going to be hopefully chatting with him further soon and show you how he's leveraging Omniverse and Unreal. And that is it for me. Now we can dive into the real star of today. Mr. Stephen Tong, aka Funky Boy. Stephen,
hey guys.
First of all, it's awesome to have you here. I think a lot of people have been very familiar with your work because you have been one of the most active contributors in the community. Whenever we throw a challenge out there, whenever there's a contest, we can expect to see Funky Boy not only submitting, but submitting really, really awesome stuff. So Before you introduce yourself a little bit more, I wanted to also just give a quick shout out to a few other people who are here during the stream, not only because they're experts in kind of the areas we're going to be talking about, but because they're huge fans and wanted to come on the stream to hang out with you. Starting with Charles, who everyone might remember from our recent live stream on Blender. Charles, thank you so much for coming. Charles is going to be sprinkling in some Blender information along the way. Maybe he'll answer some questions from Stephen, and maybe he can give us a quick update on what he's working on the connector side. So thank you for joining us, Charles.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Maddie, who is taking a quick break from daddy duty. Congratulations to Maddie for having a newborn. Maybe we'll get him to share a picture later on. But Maddie, thank you for taking the time out. Maddie also really wanted to come on. Again, we're all huge fans of Stephen, so I think everyone kind of want to jump in. We had to tell people that's enough. We have enough people in the live stream, so I had to kick people out. But finally, we've got Eric, aka Strain Flow, and Eric is also a fan. But Funky Boy, aka Steven, also learned a lot from watching Eric in his live stream, and I wanted to also include him here. So really happy to have this great crowd here. Okay, now the introduction's out of the way. Funky Boy, tell everybody a little bit, because you're not just a regular 3D artist. You have a really interesting background. You want to introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us your story.
Yeah, so my name's Steve, and so for the past few years I've been mostly in like the music world. I've been doing a lot of like music challenges and remixes and original work. And I only started like the 3D journey like last year. So I started a bit of Blender, and then I discovered Omniverse. And then from there, it's just been crazy. I've been like doing some Unreal stuff, learned audio to face. I'll show you a few coding projects, and I'm really glad like Maddie and Eric are here, because without them, I wouldn't even figured this stuff out. So that's really helpful. Should we show some like early
Yeah,
Omniverse work?
let's take go back in time and show us kind of what the beginning of Funky Boy Junior, as he was emerging from his cocoon, what kind of work he was doing.
So I'm sharing my screen now, and what I want to say about Omniverse is that when you first use it, it's deceptively simple. It's just like, what do I do with this program? At first I thought, you guys just have nice assets and we just drag and drop like nice assets in there, and that's like it. So as you can see, this is like one of the first few things I started doing with Omniverse. Is you guys have great like little asset packs. So here we have like these like RTX marbles, and I would just like place them in a scene, put a few basic lights, and then just render it, and then marvel at how good everything was. And I found that like particularly fun compared to like a Blender workflow where it seems you have to do everything yourself. And I found Omniverse, you just get in there and you can easily get great results. So that's what I was doing like really early on, is just playing with the marbles asset packs. And these are also found in just the like residential packs, just like very nice statues and like couches and stuff. And then, a bit later on, oh, this is another really nice render. I really love this asset. And you can see just all these beautiful details in it, like the
Wait, I think,
reflection.
hold on, sorry, Steve, 1 sec. I think the asset showing up on the screen that we can't see. We're looking at your
Okay.
browser folder.
Okay. Oh, I see.
I was trying to zoom in with a magnifying glass, but now I realize you were showing it on a different screen.
Let me see if I can change that.
Yeah, take your time.
No worries.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is it full screen now or still the same?
Yes. I see paint cans now.
Full screen.
Are we good?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like, yep, we're looking at the spray cans.
Yeah, so that's what I would basically do in like, I'd say the first few months of Omniverse, is just put in the assets, put in like one light, two lights, and just render stuff for fun. And then like just basically stuff like this. And then eventually I discovered the Sketchfab kind of tab where you could just bring in assets from anywhere. And Sketchfab also has like a really nice collection of like curated museum pieces. And this was around the time when I was like in between Blender and in between Omniverse. And I just found Omniverse a lot easier to like set up and light like stuff really fast. So it's something I kind of stuck more towards, and I kind of like left Blender on the wayside, but hopefully, I can go back and like brush up on some skills. And lastly, like I was just figuring out how to do like physics simulations, and I just found that really fun as well. So yeah, that's like the intro to Omniverse. And so I was also keeping up with the live streams like heavily, right? So around like May around is when you guys started doing the machinima contest, right?
Yep.
And around that time, I didn't think I had what it took to like actually make a good video. And one thing that really inspired me was the live stream with Benny D. So, can you guys just see this video? Are you seeing it right now?
Yes. Yep.
So there's no sound to it, but this is like what I was doing like while you were streaming with Benny D. Is I was just, playing an Omniverse as like, can I set up a living room and just spin some lights kind of situation? And so from there, I kind of got the idea, okay, maybe I could do a machinima entry. And we were having a bit of trouble playing that, but could we show the YouTube video maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
yes,
Wendy's going
yes.
to try to use this new feature on YouTube to.
And so yeah, what I wanted to do is something really short, and I wanted to incorporate like maybe like a very simple beat I made and see if I could make like a music video all to myself. And I think, that was accomplished pretty well. So
Here we
just
I
go.
love
set
that
that up.
logo. I want that in my house. Nice.
Yeah, so that was like really fun to do. And like right after that, you guys announced the code contest, right? So like immediately after that, I learned about the code contest, but I wasn't sure I wanted to like get in on it because I had no programming experience. But like the few sizzle reels I saw, I really saw potential. So if we go back in that video, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was really hard to pull off, like centering the camera, like exactly. I had to use like the world origin point to make sure everything was centered. But with the code contest, you guys started showing off all these extensions, and in particular, Maddie's reticle extension, which gives you some camera guides. And I thought, whoa, like if you want to like get good at Omniverse, you have to understand extensions and maybe even like build some yourself. So uh, I found that like a really good opportunity to like, okay, maybe I could learn like some Python and stuff because, you guys in the community are so helpful. Even though I don't know anything, I could like search for help for you guys. And I want to show, like 3 extensions that I made with a lot of help from Maddie and other people in the community. So
Awesome.
let me share my screen.
Oh, awesome though that you've been inspired by in so many different ways by different things we've been doing as a community.
Can you guys
It's
see
so
my
nice
Omniverse
to
right
hear.
now?
Yes.
Okay. So in Omniverse, the way to get to an extension is through Windows extensions. And then in the third party tab is where all the fun happens. And so if I search just my name, Funky Boy, you'll see I have like 4 extensions. 3 of them are published, but I couldn't get one of them like to show up on the GitHub repo or something. But I'll get that fixed. So the first extension I made was really, really basic, and all it does is spawn a teapot. Called it the tea time extension. So all this does is you have one button, and it spawns this teapot that was actually made in like the 1970s, and it's called like the Newell teapot or the Utah teapot. It's kind of become a meme in the 3D.
That's the Utah teapot. Okay.
Yeah, it was invented in the
Utah,
1970s.
that's important. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first. It's like one of the really early 3D assets that was ever rendered. It's Utah teapot.
Yeah. And so I basically was able to build this because I was watching some of Maddie's like live streams, and he was showing how he could spawn like a book and a bookshelf. And so I thought, okay, I could make a basic extension that just spawns like a teapot. And then it's kind of a meme, it's kind of a joke, but at least, you know, and you
It's
guys were actually searching for like maybe 100 extensions in one contest. So I thought, you know, pump those numbers. And yeah.
it's a great example of just how easy of an extension you can start. Like when you're starting out, you know, something simple like this, and then build on that idea. I love it.
Yeah. I think what's going to be great is seeing your progression, and like you've been learning Python and how to code with Omniverse, and it's going to be cool as you show your extensions how you've progressed.
And so the next extension, I wanted to make something like a bit more useful, and I came up with this camera speed selector. And so at the time, like maybe in the summer, like there wasn't really a good way to control the overall camera speed in Omniverse. We now have a thing where you can like change it. You see up there, I can like change it with my mouse wheel, but we didn't have that before. And you'd have to like go up here and maybe like fiddle with this navigation speed thingy. So what I wanted to do was like a quick 10 buttons that you can, you know, use to navigate your scene if you need to go really fast or if you need to go really slow. So it's a tool that just kind of helped me, but it's a bit less useful these days, but I still use it myself, and I think I'll publish it, you know, one day, make it better. And so the next one is the really fun one. It's kind of like the follow-up to the tea time. It's what I call, or it's called the Cornell box maker. And so you guys in like, you know, graphic nerds all know about the Cornell box. It's like a wall with 2 painted walls, and it's used to like test the graphics engine's ability to do like global illumination and to an extent like ray tracing. So once I click this button, it will create a Cornell box, and let's just check that out. And yeah, and I also set up a nice camera here, and you have these nice selectors to just change the wall color. And then you can put it to like a really nice render engine setting, and it looks beautiful. And also I made these like widgets to like, you can, you know, you can kind of see how the light affects the cube. And this is just something I can have like fun all day with, but let's not get too distracted. And my newest extension, it helps a lot with the Legos. It's an isometric camera maker. And an isometric camera is kind of like, it's typically associated with like a top-down view you might see in like SimCity. So let me just give you a preview of that. Here, I'll just put the teapot on this pedestal. And then I'll close this wall off, and I'll create my isometric camera just by clicking this button. And so now I've kind of combined all 3 of these extensions into one. And I just want to show off, this is Maddie's extension right now, is something I use a lot to just make sure everything is centered. So if you put it on quad mode, you can like get dead on like a nice symmetrical shot, if you will. And so that's about it for my extensions. Is there any like questions or comments?
Very cool. Well, so first of all, thanks for showing each of those off. I think you've really demonstrated how accessible this is to people. So that's awesome. Vincent also added a little bit of background trivia in line with what Eric was saying. That teapot is used because it has concave and convex parts, creates shadows with the spout, and shadows itself with the handle. It's ideal for testing materials and lighting. So thanks, Vince, for that bit of background knowledge on the teapot. Very cool. And yeah, we got some excitement. People looking forward to the Legos. Maybe we can kick that off.
Okay. I think it'd be useful to show like a few of my kind of more recent renders also.
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely.
So what I really like what I think Omniverse really kicked off is with the version 3.0, because that it gave us so many new tools, and it finally gave us the second viewport, which was hidden in code for like the longest time. So I'm happy about that. Let me see if I can find those.
And while Steven's looking for that, we got a little message from Amelia that our ticker at the bottom is overlapping. So it looks like there's a couple of messages happening at the same time.
Okay.
Can you guys see what's on the screen now?
I see something very beautiful.
Yeah.
RTX.
So this is like how I would sum up like, version 3.0 of Omniverse is that it just brought in so many tools. This really shows off the array tool. So all I had to do was like I built a simple base of like, two stacks, and then I used the array tool to just make it like 100 stacks, and then I arrayed that stack and I put it all over the room, and it's like that was all done with just 2 stacks of like RTX cards. Anyway, I found that very fun to do.
Very cool.
And then so I'm a bit late on the Omniverse game, right? So I missed a few contests. And so what I thought I would do is like kind of go back and do one of your contests without it being like counted, I guess. So one of your first contests was
Awesome.
the create with marbles.
Uh-huh.
And when you open Omniverse, especially in the early days, all you saw is like, in the splash screen is like the entries to that. And one of them that I really liked was Jeremy Lightcap's one, and he's been on the stream a lot of times, and he actually shared his workflow. So what I did with this render is all I wanted to do was like create a log house in his style kind of. And what's cool is that I never really saw Omniverse as a modeling tool, but if you want, you can really just, kit bash assets and create a house with them if you really want to. And as you can see, this is kind of what kickstarts my interest in Lego, because I added this Lego figure kind of last minute, but it really helps to set the scale here because the whole scene, it might actually be huge, but if you put a Lego in it, it'll all look small. So, and then like it kind of became maybe an obsession to, put Lego pieces in my renders just so I could pinpoint the scale of it and make things feel small, even though in the program maybe they were huge. Do you kind of understand that?
Mhm.
Okay, and
Very
yeah, this
cool.
is what I did for just the Halloween stuff. And yeah, at this point, like I'm taking assets from everywhere. So like these are like marbles assets. All the Legos right now would be coming from Sketchfab, so you can just go to the Sketchfab browser and just type Lego, and there's like a ton of them. But I didn't know how they were brought in, and we got some pumpkins from Unreal. I got these barrels from one of your sample projects called like Cloud Maker or something. So I'm really like kit bashing all the assets available to me in Omniverse.
Very
And yeah,
resourceful.
this one is just wholly done with Sketchfab assets. Just put the Sketchfab assets in there and put in your own lighting. And Omniverse has just great, like foliage assets. And then here we get into the Christmas challenge. Again, I'm doing like a same thing, just like making a building with the marbles assets, the making a snowman just all out of marble. So like this a marble, this a marble, that's a marble. And yeah, I just found a carrot on Sketchfab. And here it is again. And this teddy bear is from like your attic sample. And just get bashed that more with some Sketchfab assets. So it's really fun just bringing in assets from everywhere and to make a whole scene with them. And so I guess, should we get into Lego stuff now? Or are there any
Yeah, well,
Yes.
first
questions?
of all,
Yes.
all those things are awesome. Very cool. You have a great eye for style and for lighting. And really cool how you're able to really learn from some of the developers and creators we've had on the stream. So this is really fantastic to see, man.
Okay, so am I still sharing my screen, right?
Yes, we're
Okay.
looking at Blender.
Cool. Okay, so the way the whole Lego thing started is actually with one of Eric's videos, and I'd suggest subscribe to like anyone who's got an Omniverse channel at this point, because you're just gonna learn tidbits, even if you're not expecting it. I know like Eric, he's focused more on like engineering and like how to rig vehicles, which it isn't really my interest, but I just scan the channel and see if there's anything of interest. So like Maddie has a channel, Dave has a channel, and just Maddie has a channel. Follow them all, and you're bound to learn something. And so I found this program. I think it's like officially owned by Lego. It's called Bricklink Studio. And what you can do with this program is build your own Legos. They have like all these parts for you. But the most interesting part is, to me, was this import official Lego sets. Oops. So if you go to import and you go to import official Lego set, all you need is the set number and it will give you that Lego. So this is one I have. It's called the Warpwing Fighter. I have it right here. And so all you need to do is import it. And inside the scene, it'll load all the parts needed. Okay, and there will be missing parts, but I want people to not be discouraged by that, because some of them you can easily find like another copy of, like these wedge plates. You can find that. I don't know why it says missing. And then it's just like really specific decals that might be missing. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, you can
And
lose
so,
parts
sorry?
without a decal on it, right?
Yeah.
That's
And
in my experience, at least.
And so I don't want to like spend too much time in this program, but take some time. It has a really easy learning curve, and it's everything snaps really easily. So I think if you're familiar with Blender, Omniverse, if you're familiar with any program like 3D program, you're gonna really pick up on this really fast. And maybe it's your first 3D program. You're gonna learn this really fast because it's very intuitive. And so what I saw in Eric's channel is that the way he brought them over to Omniverse is with the export as Sketchfab, right? And while that works, I found it a bit slow. Like sometimes it might take an hour for your model to show up on Sketchfab. So I was really trying to find another way to do it. And the most active community in 3D right now is like Blender. So if they can figure out how to do it, then there's a chance you can figure out how to do it in your own program. And so what I did was like, okay, if I can bring these into Blender, I could probably bring them into Omniverse. So if you do a bunch of searching for Blender, they've come up with a add-on called Import Export Eldra. Yeah, this one. So I made a tutorial video on it, and you can learn more about it. But this add-on allows you to import files from Bricklink Studio. So, for example, I have this buggy right here ready to go, and all I would have to do is export as Eldra, and just rename that, save it, open up the Blender, import Eldra, quickly find it. And there's settings here. I go over that more in my tutorial series, but just take it on faith that it's mostly just one button import. And so, yeah, it's all there in Blender for you. Like somehow, the decals all got in nicely. And so my thinking for bringing it to Omniverse was most of the material will translate pretty well into Omniverse, but the one problem you're going to have, and this is a problem too with like even Unreal Engine, I think, is the clear and like translucent material. It doesn't really come across well. So there's a lot of
I had some problems
options.
with those myself, and with the decals. So this is really great.
So there's a lot of options here, as you can see in the Omniverse panel. And to be honest, it all a bit confused me. So I was like, can we just bring it into Omniverse and fix all the problems there? And the answer is, for the most part, yes. I'll tell you, like, there's two things that don't translate well, and I'll just go over that right now. So there's in Blender, you can see that this translucent material isn't translucent yet, but if I do click on a proper rendering engine, you can see it's nice and translucent, and it's mildly like emissive, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna have to fix that in Omniverse. And another thing that I want to show you is certain like granular textures might not make it in. So you see this slope part. If I switch it to the proper rendering engine, you can see it's kind of grainy. And so that currently is not going to translate well into Omniverse. This is just going to be shaded completely smooth. But if you're okay with that, then we can just click this export USD button and fix it all in Omniverse. So I'm just going to find my USD files. And I'm going to quickly save this, like a live stream example. And let me know if there's any questions.
So just to clarify, so you're using the Blender that is installed from the Omniverse launcher, right?
Yeah. So this is the Blender branch, but I did some quick tests before the live stream, and you had like Tanya on earlier, and she was just saying that you can just import, export an FBX into Omniverse, and that's fine. So if you don't have this the branch for some reason, you can save it as an FBX, and it should show up pretty neatly. But we just want the USD at the end of the day, so this is the more simpler thing to do.
That makes sense. And we do have one question on hardware. Zia, hey Zia, is asking what you're using.
So yeah, I just have like a 3060 12 gig, which isn't all that powerful, but the main currency these days is like VRAM, and so at least I have 12 gigs of VRAM. That's decent. So it's not like the fastest card, but when it comes to rendering, at least you have like 12 gigs of RAM. So I would suggest that as like an entry to the Omniverse. I think Eric also made that suggestion. It's like, if you're on a budget, get a 3060. If you're not on a budget, 3090, 4090. But I think 3060 is a perfectly respectable card for Omniverse stuff.
And I would say make sure a 3060 and not a 3060 Ti.
Yeah.
3060 Ti is maybe faster, more performant, but it only has 8 gigs of GPU RAM. So watch out.
And so
basically, just on this VRAM for a second. So the more VRAM you have, the bigger the scene, generally, right?
Yeah.
And just also side note, you want to have double CPU RAM that you have VRAM.
Oh yeah. And
at least double, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, like, because these days, denoising is so important for a render that you want to have like enough RAM so that the denoising kicks in. So one thing when I know scenes are getting too crazy is that I click render, and especially in the like iRay mode, it's just gonna tell you, oh, we don't have enough VRAM to denoise, and it just looks horrible. So that's one of the more important things of VRAM these days. Okay, so you still seeing my create screen, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so you might be tempted once you've saved your Lego, oh, I'll just drag it in my scene, and that's perfectly fine. But I think it's good to just set it up a little bit before you do. So instead of dragging it to a scene, I'm just gonna like double click it. And now we can set it up so that we can drag it into any scene and it'll be okay. So I want to keep it with no light. So I'm just gonna go to the Gray Light Studio preset, and that will give me just lights I need to work with. So there's a few things you need to like consider when setting up your asset. First, we're gonna obviously actually make it a glass material. And I cover this in my tutorial, but the best way to do it is to find one object, go to this material zone right here, click it. And then once you see that, you can right click it and select the bound objects. And that selects every material that's similar. And then you're free to create your own material with it. So I'm going to just make that a glass. And you can make it a plastic. And there's also like these surface presets. I show this more in my tutorial, but that's to make it emissive. But I do like the look of just a glass. It's a bit unrealistic, but I do like the look. And then we can just make that
looks good.
orange. And then another thing you want to consider is the scale, right? Oh, yeah. So you see this like root primitive, it's being scaled times 100 like on every axis. And the problem with that is this, if I want to like add a light to this within the group, like let's say I add a rectangle light, that light will be scaled times 100. So what you want to do is actually undo these scalings and put it directly into only the Lego part. So you see, I undid it at the root, but I'm going to go into this buggy and redo the scale. Oh, okay. And yeah, I lost my Lego, live stream, screw up. I don't know why.
Happens to the best
Oh,
of
here we
us.
go. Here we
How
go.
long?
It's
There
back.
you go.
It's because I didn't scale one of them properly. Okay. And another thing is if you didn't do anything in Blender, it might bring in this like lights environment. So just delete that. And so now we are ready to bring it into our own scene. So I like to just save it again. And so now we can create a new scene. And we can drag and drop in our Lego. And so, yeah, the beauty with that is that now you're free to change, anything in your Lego, and it won't affect the main file. So, maybe I didn't want the glass to be orange. Maybe we're going to go with like an NVIDIA green today. And so if I drag in another one, hopefully if I drag in this one, yeah, you see this one, it stays the same. So you can like non-distractively edit this Lego while, the original file is just chill and it doesn't need any changing. And so I know we're a bit short on time. And what I wanted to like kind of encourage the stream to do is like, how do we take the Legos to a next level in Omniverse? So I showed you in my tutorial, like, oh, you can use the iRay render engine. You can set up your lights all nicely. You can set up props and it's beautiful. But like, how do we take it to the next level? And, my answer to that is you have all these materials you can use to make it a bit more unrealistic, but you can really customize everything to the way you want it to look. So maybe for some reason I want just this piece to be like gold. I know it's unrealistic, but it's a lot of fun you can have in Omniverse, I think. And another one I want to show is I made my isometric camera extension almost specifically for my Legos, because if you look at like any instructions and even the default rendering of Bricklink Studio, things will be in the isometric view. So I think this is a very nice extension to go along with your Legos. Any questions so far?
I think that's a great approach as far as extension building. Build something that's useful to you, and if you can share it back to the community, there's bound to be somebody else that will be thankful to have that too.
Okay. And yeah, I want to show off one more extension that will really take your Legos to the next level, and it's this blow up extension. But before that, I did have I set up a video for it. Whoa. I didn't realize that the sun came out. Oh my god. Hold up.
He's little SPF.
Okay. Or Edmar, are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have the video of the Legos blowing up? I have it as well, but
Let me see. This is a really cool video. Let me see. Hey, bear with me a second. I'm trying to find it.
I could see some pretty cool captures there too. I'd love to see some of those Lego captures.
okay, Edmar, I got it actually.
Okay.
Can you see this?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I want to show you a quick tutorial on doing this, but I couldn't show you with a complicated piece because this actually, the way the extension works and the way Omniverse is right now is that you have to keyframe like 500 parts at a time, or like as many parts as your Lego is. So that gets really, like, I guess, intensive on the CPU. So I'll show you this on a very simple model that we have here. So you can see my create screen right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the extension I like to use for this is you go to the third party tab and type in Exploder. And it's one by Synthway. And so I'll just activate that. And he did a nice thing where you can just go to Windows and find it. It's right here. I'll just dock that here. And so what you're going to do is just select the parent X form, I guess, and then say, click to use 53 parts. And so at this point, it's pretty good to go, right? Like the Legos are exploding.
That is awesome.
And he's got, or the author of this extension made a bunch of different ways it can explode. So if I just undo this ground plane, and we'll just see one more option. Okay,
Very
so one of the issues I had with this extension is like, that's cool and all, but how do I actually, make a video of this? And what you have to do, and I might be wrong because I don't know how to use the extension properly, but what I did was you have to find every single mesh and keyframe them. So what you have to do is open your animation timeline, go to the buggy, and you see how, the file structure is pretty complicated. It's got all these X forms that hide the meshes. So what you have to do is specifically find the meshes, and you can see here we can filter to find only the meshes. And then you find them, you select all of them, and then you're free to go to the property window, and it has them all selected, and then you can go set key. And the bigger the Lego piece is, the longer it's going to take. So that key was set. I'm just going to do a 60 frame animation, put that to 30 frames per second. And at the 30th frame, I'm going to explode it to where I want it. So let's say this. And then I'll keyframe again. And then I'll go back, go to 60. Go back to the exploder, and then I'll keyframe that again. And then we should be good to go. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
So there you have your infinite loop of a Lego exploding. And then, you're free to go to town on like materials and lighting. But, I don't want to go too much in depth into that. But are there any questions so far about that process?
So Zia and I are wondering when you're going to have animated short, Lego animated short.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like that's something I'm challenging you guys. So actually, yeah, what I wanted to do, we have like 10 minutes left, and I have all these ideas for what we could do with the Legos, but I don't know if I have the skills here. So, there's a lot of people. I've seen Ashley use Substance Painter. It's like, can we use Substance Painter to maybe create our own custom decals, or to paint the Legos in an even crazier way? And Strain Eric has already done this for the most part. It's like, how do we go ahead and rig all these Legos to make it like a moving vehicle? And how do we rig a character's like entire body? That's something I haven't really figured out. It's like, and to create a short film, do we need like an extension to create the stop motion look? There's a lot of questions here. And also it's like, maybe we could use like audio to face to animate a Lego person's face. I don't know. I've seen a lot of like Maddie and Ashley use this program called Isaac Sim that's mainly used for like, robotic simulation, but it's like, can we use that to actually build the Legos I don't know, but these are just questions I have, and I'd like to hear the chat suggestion on like what can we do with Legos in Omniverse.
I mean, stop motion animation, we could just have it skip frames, right?
Yeah.
That would be easy enough. That'd be pretty cool, actually.
I think, Tyner, aka the Omnivore, has been doing these really cool series, live syncing, where he's working with folks like Marcom3D and Alberto, who is a great Omniverse creator also, and from Spain. It'd be really cool to actually come up with a concept for this idea and see if we can get a shared nucleus, and maybe we can get a few people to sign on, and everyone takes a chunk of the idea. But we need a script. Who's going to work on the script? We need a story, man.
Yeah.
ZID Ideas said it'd be fun to rig these vehicles. I'm thinking racer, RTX, Lego vehicles. Come on.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
And yeah, just a tip on the lighting. As you can see, what I like to do for my lighting is basically delete all the lights and to start from like almost darkness. And I think you can see that in like almost all my renders is I start with a really dark scene and then I just progressively add lights until it looks good. So I just wanted to throw that tip out and try different lighting scenarios, like add a purple light. And purple usually goes well with like a red, that's a bit maybe, or a blue. So yeah, just a few lighting tips for you guys. And
I was thinking, if you look at the Lego Technic stuff, they have all these sensors, and I wonder if we could.
Oh yeah.
Bring the Legos and the sensors into Isaac Sim and kind of make make the motors work, make the sensors work.
Yeah, another thing that's not working that well right now is actually the physics. So the way the pieces are coming in, I feel that they're all like too close to each other. And if you apply like a traditional rigid body simulation, what happens is that the Legos kind of like blow up on you. I have an example.
Add a collision group.
Yeah.
So if you add a collision group with all of the Legos in it, they won't collide with each other. They'll only collide with the ground.
Okay. I just want to show you guys this for fun. You can see my desktop, right?
Yes, looking at your browser.
Yeah. So this is like, I just imported a building into Omniverse. I applied a rigid body simulation to like all of them, and I like just hit play, and it just blows up. So that's where I got with that.
See, I'm okay with rendering that image because that means I'm not going to step on it. If you have kids with Legos, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and here's just a few more renders that Eric was interested in. Yeah, basically with the same technique I showed you. And yeah, this one has a lot of like custom materials. So like we went with a gold here and gold wheels.
I like it.
And a nice HDRI from the environment tab. Yeah, I found this one really nice. You get the sun in a nice angle. And this one is from the isometric perspective. And yeah, also, before, going into this project, I had just watched the Lego movie, and that's like hugely inspiring. And I looked into how they did it. I think it was all like done in Maya or something, but it really gave me inspiration to like, okay, maybe we could do this in like Omniverse somehow. And this is the one I did for the tutorial. Any questions on that?
I had that one at one point.
So yeah, that's like about it for what I have to show.
Very cool. I was just pasting. For people who want to read more about Stephen's work, we just published Meet the Omnivore series featuring Stephen and his work. I'll place a link in the chat. That's a great blog to catch up on, though, if you're curious about reading how different people, whether they're a developer or creator, are leveraging Omniverse with their workflows and other DCCs. But his is a great one. So I'll paste the link in 1 sec, and then you can read all about it.
Yeah.
Stephen, I can't. First of all,
I'm gonna turn off my camera.
we've been seeing a lot of excitement, not only from people in the audience who are watching, but also from folks internally at NVIDIA who are like, "Wow, he's showing off so many different things that he learned, pretty much on his own, and with the help of different resources from the community and other users." It's just a great shining example, and we can't thank you enough for sharing all of this with us and being so open and putting so much thought into what you were going to show and tell today. It's really it's been great to get to know you and great to have you on the stream. And on behalf of the Omniverse team and the community, thank you so much for sharing. And I can't wait to see what you do next. I love that idea for a Lego short. So
Yeah,
thank
Brain
you.
robbery.
I encourage people hop on the Discord and go to just random channels here. The developing extensions channel is happening. There's so many developers. They're always showing their latest extensions, and that's where I found the blow up extension. That's where I keep learning about how to make my own extensions. We got a few more in the works. I got one that I'm working with Jen, and Zia's giving me a lot of ideas. I got another really top secret. I can't even tell you guys about it, but it's exciting.
Now I want to
All
know.
right.
Not even a
Yeah.
hint.
Okay.
Everyone, so the best thing people could do is to hang out in Discord, where Stephen, he spends a lot of time with the community, and I'm sure we could twist his arm and get loosening his lips a little bit on Discord. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for coming on. Big thank you to Charles and Maddie and Eric and Ashley, who couldn't be with us today, but also has been very helpful in her live streams. We posted the link to our calendar so you can check out upcoming live streams. As we heard today, it's a great resources, and Eric, Maddie, and Ashley, Dave Tyner, they all have their own, besides the one we do here on Wednesdays. So really great, diverse content. And if you want to chat about it all, we have a live streams channel on our Discord channel. And if you have any problem, come to the forums, and Wendy will help you. Thank you, everybody. Wendy, thank you so much for juggling all the tech and making sure everything looked and sounded awesome.
Of course.
And until next time, we'll see everybody. Don't forget to register for GTC.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna
be there.
Yeah, we'll be looking for you all. So so anyway, check out those links in the chat, and we'll see you next time.
All right,
Bye,
later,
everyone.
guys.
Hey, everybody.